the security still has to be done by a branch visit. That apart, all the facilities of a banking service are delivered online. What is electronic banking is the same as digital banking. So in the internet banking, actually, what anyone who is interested to go for internet banking needs to be registered with the bank for online banking, needs a user ID and a password and the seeding of the mobile number in the bank account, because the OTPs for security purpose would be delivered to the mobile. Then the facilities that are offered are the account balances. These, I believe everybody would be aware: account balances, account statement downloading, placing request for a checkbook, blocking the ATM card, all of these, plus deploying the funds, making the remittances, investing in shares also has now been allowed, payment of loans and credit card applications. So practically everything is allowed on the internet banking platform. So another concept that has come about is a mobile banking. Basically, with the mobile now functioning as a PC, as a laptop, anything that we can do on mobile, on digital banking through a laptop, it can also be done through the mobile banking. The only difference is that the third-party apps that is provided is deployed through the mobile banking. That could be a small difference. When we talk of mobile banking, it is everything that a laptop can do, that is internet banking plus a third-party app facilities having certain additional features. So that is a very small difference between mobile banking and digital banking. The precautions that we have to take when we are using mobile banking is that we have to register the mobile number, and whenever we are changing a mobile number, we have to immediately inform the bank to make sure that the OTPs are not delivered to some other person. And if we lose a card, we can actually, there's a limitation on the customer liability. So we have to immediately inform the bank, change of address, all these things, certain precautions we have to take, and also not sharing the OTP. So basically, if you come to the benefits of the digital banking, the benefits of digital banking are many. That is, the speed and the speed at which the accounts, the remittances are effected, the way they get settled, it reduces the business cycles for many businesses. And then the uncertainty of the payment of a check getting kind of bounced, that because a check is basically a debit pull and this is a credit push of the digital banking products. So the uncertainty is not there. When you make a payment and somebody has paid, there is a certain certainty that the amount is actually getting credited to your account. And then you can also you can control, there is a transparent way in which you can monitor your account through your mobile payment app or through your online banking service. You don't have to go to the bank every time to update the passbook. And there is a reduced risk of loss and theft of money. And then it is also convenient, accessible 25/7, all that is there. And the benefits for the country are actually less cash, financial inclusion. The digital banking and the electronic banking model has been used very successfully for the direct benefit transfers during the pandemic this year, as we all are aware. So there's a lot of benefit to the digital banking. We are actually, as a country, we are trying hard to push digital banking in the economy. The benefits are actually, it is anytime, anywhere, and also the benefits and the economies of scale will also come subsequently. So what are the issues and challenges? The issues and challenges are actually the internet connectivity. Around 35 to 40% of the country's population is covered by internet connectivity. So, so how to address this issue? Actually, I'm not very sure. There is actually a certain development that has come up in the papers in July this year. Actually, it is about in India, we are actually dependent on broadband connectivity on the Geo, setting up the towers and the optical fiber cables and all these things. This is a certain technology, but work is happening in a different level at all over the world. There was a news in July. I was very interested when I read that. It is about Airtel entering into a contract in the UK in a company called OneWeb. and Airtel, Bharti Airtel and UK government have invested 45% each. And it is a very, very new technology where they are going to launch low Earth orbit satellites. Those are called LEOs, low Earth orbit satellites, at a distance of 12,000 kilometers. Earlier, the satellites were at a distance of 36,000. So at 1/3 distance, there will be around 2,400 small satellites, small weight satellites covering the entire Earth. So that a satellite is transiting Earth at any point of time. It is crisscrossing the globe, and with these LEO satellites in place, it is expected that in 2022 it will be covering all over the globe. And Airtel already having a license in India, the internet connectivity with this technology in 2022 it should be available all over the world. So be prepared. Yes, sir. Sir, is there a question?
No, ma'am, you may please continue. Maybe somebody.
Okay.
Side talk.
So with this technology, the issue of internet connectivity, since Airtel already has a license in India, Airtel has invested because the unconnected areas are largely in Africa and Asia, and in most of the jurisdictions, Airtel has a license to operate. So there would be huge benefits in connecting these parts of the world. And UK is interested in this particular project because with the Brexit, UK is out of the European Union GPS system, that is the Galileo. So UK is interested in having its own satellite. So this is kind of a win-win for Airtel and UK. So we are very hopeful that this technology will be successful, and it will be able to deliver internet across India, even in the Nicobar Islands, in Ladakh, and even in the deserts of Rajasthan. Every area is expected to be covered. The thing is that not only Airtel, but also Google and Amazon are also working on similar projects. And from the newspaper reports, we hear that Airtel has requested ISRO also to launch few satellites. The satellite launches are happening, and the whole thing is expected to be in place in 2022. Regarding that unbanked population and lack of awareness, now what we large parts, around 90% of the people actually are having accounts, large scale accounts have been opened. And so to a large extent, that unbanked population, now we are having the accounts, but then the actual banking has to take up, for which work is on. There is a lack of awareness, which it continues to be an issue for us, and we undertake a lot of training programs, but then we have also asked the banks and other payment system operators to step up the awareness campaigns, which is actually linked to the education also, to the education and to the basic education requirement for using these facilities. So this is one area where work is on. Regarding account opening process has happened largely, but that banking, the banking habit has to be inculcated, and the awareness has to be built. The other important aspect is security and lack of trust. Because of this lack of trust, this is an issue that has been that is there with all jurisdictions. To build trust into the system, we have actually put in place this customer liability, where if a person has not compromised the OTP and all, so the person is fully protected if they report within 3 days, excluding the date of transaction. That is there. And then we have the turnaround time for the failed transactions, where apart from cash transactions and POS, all other transactions have to be credited back to the account. If it is a failed transaction within in T+1 basis, that means next day it has to be credited back, or else there will be a penalty. There is to increase trust, we have the digital ombudsman scheme. We have an ombudsman scheme, so that if there is a complaint, it can be addressed. So these are the various measures undertaken. We have also asked all the payment system operators to put in place a helpline, 24/7 helpline, so that any customer who is facing a problem has a window for resolution. So so on the trust part, we have actually a lot of initiatives have been taken, but since the digital process is at a still at an early stage. We have put the systems in place, and we hope that over the next 1 or 2 years, the other payment systems operators will also come up with the required level of expertise, and the trust will increase. Regarding the security part, there a lot of work has happened, and we at NPCI and also the banks are working on the security part. What we find is that where the frauds are happening on is when the security is actually compromised by the user, by sharing of OTP, by giving the ATM to a mother or to any other person to withdraw cash. Because in the under the digital ombudsman, under the ombudsman scheme, we get a lot of complaints regarding this ATM frauds. And when we call the banks, actually in many cases we find that actually a known person who has access to the card has withdrawn money. So security, in matters of security, onus lies as much on the bank as the user. Because if a person actually compromises the security part by sharing information, then there could be a loss. The other thing is actually all these fraudulent calls that keep coming. We keep telling that there is no free lunch, koi lottery ticket or a holiday or any other thing that comes on the phone and asks you for personal details. Please don't give, because those are big risks, and they are actually trying to collect your credentials for fraud. So for this also, a lot of sensitizing has happened. We have actually spent a lot of effort and money in actually preparing the GIFs in the Kaun Banega Crorepati shows, and also we do conduct training programs. So across board we have been conducting, but perhaps along with education this will come, and over a period of time this issue will come, will be addressed. So efforts are on to address the basic challenges are these three: the internet connectivity. So we are preparing ourselves for full scale internet connectivity in 2022, when the new technology will be launched either by Google or Amazon or by Airtel Bharti. So we basically have to prepare ourselves for large scale digital transactions to happen in another 1.5 to 2 years time. We are scaling up our servers. Banks have been asked to put in place a roadmap, because now, if you would all be aware, in October 2020, the number of UPI transactions crossed 2 billion, which was a big achievement actually. I mean, it was lauded by the industry, and it was all over the newspaper. So 2 billion now, instead of 2 billion a month, actually we are looking at 1 billion a day. So for this scalability is required, and we are working on scaling up the entire platform, the payment systems platform. Now with this in the background, what are the opportunities for an MBA student or for anybody who is interested in this area? What I personally feel is that, and we have been listening to a lot of these fintechs who are working in the area. There are small ways in which actually we are looking at this issue, that now there is a new concept called as a new billion users, the NBU. So now most of the people who are educated are aware of digital banking, they are using digital banking. But still the usage is limited. So who are the NBU, the new billion users who would be using internet, and who is actually the market for rolling out applications? So the new billion users actually are the people who are less literate than the current set of users, typically the Kirana store owners, and all the small service providers, plumbers, electricians and all. We expect that they would be the next set of people who would be using digital transactions in a big way, who would also be using the digital ecosystem in a bigger way. So actually there are a lot of successful experiments that are happening in various parts of the country. I will share one small example. It is something called as the name of the brand is OK. It is actually, I was very impressed. That is why I'm using this name. It is available on Play Store. You can check. It is called OK Bahi Khata. So this a set of 3 to 4 people, they have worked on a model in which a small kirana store shop owner, who generally they work on a business model where they serve various households in the neighborhood. They come, they pick up their groceries from time to time. And this person, the shopkeeper, makes a note, and end of the month, after this person gets his salary, they settle the bill. So it is called as something as a Bahi Khata. So it is called as an OK Bahi Khata. So in this particular model, they have asked the kirana shop owner to use it, and for every customer, his usual set of customers, whatever they purchase in the middle of during the month, they actually enter it in the app, and then this app records all this information. This is sent to the particular customer as an SMS message saying that these are your purchases today and this is your bill. At the end of the month, the total bill actually is another SMS goes saying that this is your bill, and you have to pay this amount. And if there is a dispute, it is resolved as soon as the SMS goes. So so basically it is a very clean record of the ledger of the shop, and it facilitates faster collections, and also a record of the transactions, the record of the business of the shop. It facilitates this particular shopkeeper for looking at the transactions, looking at the working capital requirements, and facilitation for a loan. So through a tie-up with NBFC. So in this particular model, there are some technical guys and some some MBAs who are actually responsible for rolling out the model, and in the background, the IT people are working on the model. So this, for the next billion users, this is expected to facilitate GST returns, because all data is there, to facilitate small loans through an NBFC or a bank. So a lot of work is happening in this area, which can actually be looked at actually by entrepreneurs, because basically the activity for the next billion users will happen in giving service, because for the big businesses and industrial houses, already they have their own teams. So there is a huge market out there for deploying such apps through a combination of the marketing and the management team, and through the IT. It is a combination of both. It requires understanding of the business processes and rolling out. So work is happening in this area, and very good work is happening. In fact, a lot of kirana shops in Bangalore and all, they have migrated to this model. And this is something that will happen in tier 3, 4, 5 cities. So market is huge. And looking at the data, tying up for loans with NBFCs is one area where a lot of work is happening, because we are looking at the models as what could be delivered, and all of it has been facilitated through digitalization. And the payment part is part of the whole process of streamlining the business, reducing the business cycles, and increasing the business overall. So this is where actually the next billion users would be available for exploring the market, for developing the market, and for a lot of opportunities are there in this area, sir. So so this is a segment where we have to look into. So regarding these payment systems, there are there's a lot of stuff, but then I would, if there are questions, I would like to take them, because there is, so that whatever I say is more relevant to the students who are looking for opportunities here.
Any questions?
Ma'am, hi, this is Vijay here. I would like to ask one question.
the RBI has kept NEFT, RTGS, those under their preview. Rather, the UPI, which has been tremendously growing for last couple of years. That particular domain that they have given it to NCPI and other stakeholders of the banking. Is there a specific reason behind that?
Actually, there RBI typically most of the central banks around the world uh, they are actually the supervisor and the operator of the wholesale payment systems, and the retail payment systems are in most countries are given to another entity which is tightly supervised by RBI. We have given a license to NPCI. NPCI is actually operating under our guidance, but central banks do not operate the retail payment segments. So that is the reason.
All right. Okay. Thanks.
But it is all under our supervision only.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Also, if you can just throw a light that there is a circular or the recommendation by RBI which has come that none of the UPI players should have more than 45% of the market share. What's your view? I mean, like, do you think that this will further enhance the digital transaction, or this will impact, because there might be, some people might not like the interface of Google Pay, some people might like the interface of the phone pay. I mean, like, but there could be a consumer preferences by this policy.
Yes.
The RBI might be just imposing that one particular player can more than 45%. Will it
Yeah. See,
impact
yes. This,
the
yeah.
digital further penetration in that?
Actually, this at present, PhonePe and Google Pay are having a total of 80% of the market share. Only these two entities. So PhonePe, actually, when PhonePe had a tie-up with Yes Bank, to any third-party operator has to have a tie-up with a particular bank through which they can, because they are not the payment system operator, they are only the user interface. They have to enter into the UPI platform through a particular bank. So what the first concern happened when Yes Bank was put under moratorium, PhonePe was having tie-up only with Yes Bank. So it was a matter of concern as to, what will happen to the PhonePe users if they are not able to access the UPI platform. So there was some talk with ICICI Bank. So immediately the PhonePe tie-up was shifted to ICICI Bank so that the customers would not suffer. So there is some amount of a concentration risk. Now we are going to a two-bank model where a bank can access the UPI platform through, it has to, through more than one bank, so that if a certain bank is having a problem, then the customers are not impacted. So there was a concentration risk even now with 80% of the UPI transactions happening through only PhonePe and Google Pay. As you know, this Google, yes? As you know, actually this Google and all are also, they are, they are under interrogation by the Competition Commission of India. There are issues and we do not want a concentration risk to happen. And it is not immediately that Google Pay has to reduce its pace, but over a period of 2-3 years, it has to come down from the existing level of 42% to 30%. Over a period of time, we expect that WhatsApp Pay and other players to come up. And now, if you would be aware, there is a proposal of having a new umbrella entity. So when the transactions increase and Google Pay increases, Google Pay's share can be 30% in an increased ecosystem. So because somewhere the concentration risk has to be addressed. So that was a very conscious decision that we have taken. And even in the US, under the antitrust laws, they are looking at the big size of the players, which could have a disruptive impact on the market or on the ecosystem. So we do not want such disruptions to happen in the economy. So the government is looking at it very closely, and even in RBI, we are looking at it very closely. As you would be aware, we have a competition commission in India, and the US, they have their antitrust laws, which is somewhat similar. So there should be no one entity that is too big to fail, and if it fails, then what happens? Those concerns are there. There's a concentration risk even now. With Google Pay and Phone Pay, we are trying to address it through these gaps.
Thank you for answering. Thank you.
Any questions from the students?
Dr. Barik.
Yeah.
This is Raja Ghosh from Calcutta. Can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure. Please.
Madam Suchitra.
Yes.
Good afternoon. This is Raja, a PhD scholar of 2020 batch from Calcutta.
Okay.
I have a question of a different sort, a different flavor. Though I am aware that the corporate social responsibility provisions of Companies Act 2013 are not always applicable and are not applicable to the banking companies everywhere except the private sector banks. What do you think is the role the CSR can play to act as a facilitator in educating or percolating the digital transformation to the larger rural masses? Can CSR in any way indirectly act as a facilitator in educating the rural mass in India?
This is a very good question. I am not sure if we had looked at it from this aspect, but I will certainly take it as an input. It is a very valuable suggestion, actually.
Actually, I was just watching your class, and suddenly it came to my mind because I am just exploring the avenues of CSR. So it just came voluntarily to me, and I had the courage to ask the question after taking the permission from Dr. Barik.
Thank you, sir. This is a very, very good suggestion. I will definitely send it across.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes, madam, you can continue now. If the question answer session comes, then we will start giving the opportunity to the students, madam. Please continue.
Okay.
Madam.
So these are certain precautions that we have to take when we are working on our apps and all. I'm sure you all would be aware of it. It is like, to ensure to log out, sign out, and also to update the PC with the latest antivirus and all these things. And never to write down the password anywhere. Okay, and to always close the tabs after we are using the net banking, and also actually to remember that HTTPS, to make sure that you're logging on to the correct secure site of your own bank. So these are some of the precautions that we have to take. Sir, there are a lot of products, and don't want to get into the product side because I was actually, if it is about the issues and challenges, because the products are too many and it will take too much time actually to go into these details. Is that what you would like, or we could discuss some issues actually? There is a concept of a new umbrella entity that has been floated to work in addition to the NPCI who is managing the retail segment. That is also there, but I have a lot of products with me, a lot of slides on the products, the differences and all, but this is available anywhere on the internet, on our website also. I don't whether I mean, that is not a
Madam, just can you highlight these basic three things that we have cited, IMPS and NEFT and all these things, so the students will have.
Okay. Yeah. Yes.
Maybe some conceptual things which can help them.
Yes. So that NEFT and RTGS, these are actually what we call our wholesale payments. IMPS is a retail payment, and NEFT and RTGS, actually RTGS everywhere in every jurisdiction, it is actually operated by the central bank. Why RTGS is operated by the central bank? Because RTGS is basically for an interbank settlement, like between SBI and ICICI. It has to happen in the books of the central bank, so we do it. Also, the stock market, the settlement at the end of the day, CCIL, which works on all these that on the security settlement and all of it actually they happen on the RTGS platform. That is why, because of the criticality, the RTGS is always managed by the central bank, and it is available real time. It is it says a real time gross settlement. That means there is no netting. It is always on a individual transactions flow, and it is available. It was initially like it was from now you would be aware, governor has made an announcement that from December this will become 24/7. It will be available 24/7. And there is a floor, that means minimum transaction size should be 2 lakh, and there is no ceiling. In NEFT, now NEFT is also 24/7 since December 2019. This is also owned and operated by RBI. And this here in this third row, it was 24/7 it is 365. And from this December onwards, RTGS will also be 24/7. In NEFT, there is no flow. No floor, and 50,000 of course for cash based. That is because that according to the income tax, all the cash transactions and all go to 50,000 tak hi rahega karke. And we matlab the charges slowly we are waiving the charges, and for better penetration of the digital payment. What is IMPS? IMPS is a mobile based payment that is offered by NPCI. Okay, so this is actually there is no flow, there is a ceiling. It is also available 24/7, and it is a retail payment. Retail payment means that is actually typically between individual to individual. That is P2P. There actually is a small difference between IMPS and UPI. IMPS and UPI is actually an improvement on the IMPS. On IMPS platform, you cannot make merchant payments. In UPI, you can make person-to-person payments. Also, you can pay to the merchant. So IMPS is the foundation. UPI is a much more refined,
software.
IMPS platform. And in the UPI, we have introduced the QR code base, that is the payment, and also the merchant payments. These are the additional to the UPI product. But IMPS was the first product, and it was launched sometime in 2010. UPI came in 2016, and the UPI facilitated, UPI was a very, very strong platform, and it is the, it is in the payment systems area, it is considered to be the most significant and most important innovation in the payment systems area, based on which all the third-party apps, we have 21 apps as on date, all the third-party apps like Google Pay, Phone Pay, all of them could work on this platform. UPI is a platform, payment systems platform, but the UPI platform has been created from the IMPS platform. It is an improvement on the IMPS. And that is the biggest innovation on the payment system sector.
Madam, one question have come actually from the students. With your permission, can I just allow?
Yes, sir, please, sir.
Dio Assis, can you just switch on your video and ask the question? Dio Assis.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please ask the question. Switch on your video and ask the questions.
Okay, sir. BCA. And my question is, what would be the consequences for banks to fully inform banks' clients about cybercrime attacks on electronic online banking systems?
The question is not clear actually.
Madam, I think he's asking that what would be the consequence for the if they inform the clients about the cybercrime attacks on the electronic online banking system.
Is he talking about reporting a fraudulent transaction?
Could you please explain, Deo, for details?
Yes, ma'am.
See, fraud can happen, okay? And cyber attacks, because we are working in an ecosystem where such things do happen. So the RBI has put certain safety measures in place. If a person has willingly shared the PIN, the password or the PIN, then person has to be liable. Okay. If the person has not shared, but there is a fraud that has happened, in that case, the person has to immediately inform the customer care by email or by calling the helpline. Within 3 days, if you inform, suppose today fraud has happened, you have three clear days to inform that a fraud has happened. So how will you know fraud has happened? You will know fraud has happened and you have lost money, because we have a system of alerting, of having a positive alert to the customer based on the mobile phone. So you will get an SMS saying that your account has been debited. If you have not done that transaction, immediately you're supposed to call up within a period of 3 days and say that I have not done this transaction and I have not shared my PIN. So you will not be liable for any loss. You will get back your money. So you have to check your SMS alerts that you receive and verify. If you have not done, it is the responsibility of the customer to inform. If you inform after 3 days, then there will be some loss. But if it is to secure yourself fully, you have to inform within 3 days after the incident has happened.
Yes, ma'am. There is also a question is raised that does the development of new information technologies affect the processes of improvement in the field of internet banking security systems?
Can you repeat the question?
Ma'am, I would like to ask here that does the development of new information technologies affect the processes of improvement in the field of internet banking security systems?
No, it's not like that, because this digital payment is a very evolving space, and while we are looking at innovation to make the user experience more simple, more better and faster, we are also looking at the cyber crimes that is happening across, and very closely the aspects are monitored. And whenever any new product is rolled out, the new product is rolled out with all the checks that is in our awareness in place. Just like innovation is happening in payment systems area, cyber crime also innovation is happening. So all the time we have to be one step ahead of the cyber crime people. Okay, we have the resources, we have more money than the criminals. So we are working full time, and all our products are rolled out, and the antivirus and all these security features, encryption and all, it is constantly updated based on the available technology.
Okay, ma'am.
So innovation is happening in payment systems, innovation is happening in cybercrime. They are upping their game, we are also upping our game, but we have the advantage of having huge funds available to us. So there is we are able to deploy more money for more security. So we are totally safe. Our payment systems are safe, but frauds can happen because there are scamsters. Just like you and me, there is also exist among us. Am I clear?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, good afternoon, ma'am. This is Josefa, student of ICFA University, pursuing BBA LLB, student of third year. My question is, how RBI helping to control digital payment issues? As of this scenario, there is number of fraudulent happening day by day. So how RBI is controlling the scenario, and how it is helping to regulate things to the individual peoples to get secured from the fraudulence? So is my question clear?
Yes, your question is clear. In RBI, we are having a fraud registry is being maintained by us, and we are examining the frauds very closely. Okay, the frauds happening in the entire ecosystem are actually, if you would have read the Nilekani report or the RBI vision document, it was a commitment to set up a fraud registry, because without a fraud registry, you cannot examine. The fraud registry that has come, there are two segments to the registry. One is the domestic fraud and one is an overseas fraud. So the overseas fraud, because economy. So that is one comfort for us. And in India, our systems are much stronger than other jurisdictions. The two-factor authentication is very, very strong. UPI, if you would have read in the newspapers, there is a demand for the UPI product in so many jurisdictions, and NPCI has formed a subsidiary because UPI is such a robust platform. We will be supplying to many jurisdictions. They will be using our product because it is such a robust product. But at the same time, we cannot deny that there scamsters are there, and many of the scamsters, actually the scams are happening by wishing and all, like calling up and saying that you have won a lottery and seeking your credentials. This is one. And people themselves compromising, that is another. But at the same time, there is another aspect actually where people that happens because of technical failures. That means when a transaction is happening and for some reason that internet connectivity has been lost, so the transaction could not be completed. So the remittance is not reaching the person, the intended person. It is somewhere lost in transit. Because of the transaction failure somewhere, which is called latency, the transaction could not be completed end to end. Somewhere there is a break in communication and transmission, so it has been lost. Such instances are there, but they are also resolved, and there is a period specified by RBI to resolve it. At the same time, we are actually working hard to educate the people not to share, not to fall into the trap of all these, so-called lotteries and winning of the prizes and all these things. But still we find that based on the complaints that come to us, we find that most of the people have themselves given it up. But the other frauds, that is actually that ATM frauds, where actually people have these skimmers and all these things, this we are trying to address through the cyber police, because they have to be informed. Because somebody putting that skimmer on that ATM machine, it is, as central bank, we are not, when policing is not our job. We are in constant touch with the cybercrime police authorities to check, we are immediately reporting such transactions to them and asking them to resolve. Because in Calcutta, there was something happening in the Jodhpur Park area where we got news from 3-4 banks. And immediately the cyber police was alerted that there is something wrong with these ATMs. So they went and action was taken. So as regulators of the financial system and police as the regulator of the law enforcing system, we have to work hand in glove with, to make sure that our systems are clean from all these elements. But then, 100% it does not happen, but we are, we draw comfort that the percentage is very less, and whatever has happened, largely 75% is of the of the users themselves giving up the credentials to pass the transaction through. But there are certain scamsters as well. Scamsters issues is being redressed through the cyber security cells of the police. So we are working on it. It cannot be 100%, as you know, because even in a cash system, there will be counterfeits here and there.
Thanks a lot, ma'am. Thanks a lot.
There is another question from Dr. Paul, who is one of our faculty in IUJ. Dr. Paul, sir, are you there online?
Yes, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. Good afternoon, ma'am. This is Dr. Paul. Yeah, ma'am. Actually, ma'am, I'm trying to write some doing research regarding this bad debts and recovery of bad debts during this pandemic. So I got few queries regarding it. Means what are the measures the banks or the RBI is planning in this pandemic, means if somebody to find the bad debts or to recover the bad debts. This is one question, and the other question is, may I know which state is performing good in this regarding this bad debts in this pandemic, means the maximum minimum bad debts and the maximum bad debts, which state?
Sir, I hope you are following the Supreme Court verdicts that have come.
Yeah.
Court cases are there in this regard. If you must be aware that we have given the COVID-19 guidelines, in terms of which for 6 months we had given moratorium, so that the bad debts, because the businesses needed to be protected, it was thought that it is if they are not in a position to pay, then we should give them moratorium. So we gave them 3 months plus 3 months moratorium. Now through that August 6th, we have released a circular saying that all the entities, now the issue is not to recognize the bad debt. The issue is to preserve the businesses, so that after this shock is over, they can again get back to their feet and they can conduct their business. Bad debt identification is not an issue at the moment. If the businesses wind up, it will take 5 more years for them to stand on their feet. So we are trying to protect their business by removing the burden of payment on them. And then we have asked all of them who want to restructure their loan, who are having stress on account of low inflows of cash, that up to 31st of December, they should all negotiate with the bankers, and by 31st of March, a restructuring plan should be in place. And this will be, the moratorium can be extended to a further period of 2 years, because if these businesses wind up, then there is going to be very huge cost to the economy. GDP is going to fall. There is going to be severe contraction if these businesses are allowed to fail. So real bad debt will happen 2 to 3 years from now. We expect, it is a reasonable expectation that 30% of the businesses will fail, but new businesses will happen. Businesses which have been protected will continue to exist, and within a short time should be able to contribute to the GDP, and the GDP will be back on its feet. So the effort now is not to identify NPA. Through various circulars, through Supreme Court judgments, yesterday one judgment has come. Now the Supreme Court has directed the banking system not to identify NPA. Yesterday at 5 p.m. the Supreme Court hearing was slated to happen. It did not happen. The next date is December 2nd, when the Supreme Court hearing will happen. And we expect that the Supreme Court will vacate the stay on identification of an NPA. But even otherwise, even after Supreme Court judgment comes, we are not interested in NPA identification. Focus is to protect the business, so that we don't have to start from zero all over again.
Okay, thank you.
Am I clear, sir?
Yes, very clear, ma'am, very clear. Ma'am, one more thing, means which state means from where the bad debts scored the most? I want to know this, because I was finding few factors into it. Trying to find few factors in which which are the state, suppose it can be Jharkhand, it can be Bihar, it can be West Bengal, it can be any state, which faced the maximum score of bad debts, most unorganized sectors. Indirectly I am questioning which state is having the most unorganized sector, because unorganized sector, they are facing the most bad debts to recover, they will be facing this problem.
Actually, this information immediately I'm not having. I have to check with the statistics department. If I get this information, I will share.
Sure, ma'am. Very thanks. Very thanks.
Can I add on?
Yes, sir.
With the kind permission of VC sir and Dr. Barik, I think Dr. Paul, as far as my knowledge goes, I had read one report. I think Maharashtra was in a much better position in the top of the rank, and Punjab was having a lot of problems in the unorganized sector. So I'm not at this moment recollecting the exact report where I read, but as far as I understand, and I'm recollecting, on the top of the list, it was Maharashtra having the best picture, and Punjab was, I think, having a dismal picture. Just give me a few days time, I may transmit the report to you.
Sir, I would also like to have a look at that, sir.
Okay, okay, thanks, ma'am. Okay, sure.
So thanks of you. So thanks of you, sir. So thanks of you, ma'am.
Suchitra, ma'am.
Yes.
Just to make it more interactive, I just wanted to know, I was facing one issue in RTGS, and since you are dealing with this entire technicalities, suppose if I give instruction to my UCO banker to transmit an amount X to Punjab National Bank in another bank branch in Maharashtra, say, UCO Bank is my remitting bank. I'm instructing UCO Bank to remit an amount to Maharashtra, Punjab National Bank. Now, if my amount is debited and ultimately the person to whose account I was proposing to remit, his or her account has been credited, what I mean to say is the entire RTGS process is completed. Is there a system of getting auto-generated information in my email account so that I need not go to the bank and ask for the UTR number every time?
Sir, this system has already been put in place.
What we experience is
this
that
this is what we call a positive pay confirmation. System is already in place. If you are not getting the alerts, you can talk to your bank. We have already instructed the banks to issue a positive pay.
So whenever the entire transaction is completed, we get
you are entitled to get a positive pay alert.
Okay, thank you. So the system is in place.
It is in place.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Suchitra, madam.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's an excellent presentation what you made. Do you have any advice to our students who want to make a career on internet banking or digital banking?
Thank you, sir. Sir, the students have to target the next billion users, their needs, identify and roll out solutions and market them. That is my suggestion to them. Because there is a huge market, a 1 billion market is coming up, and by 2022, every village in India will be online thanks to the OneWeb technology. So 2022, the market is going to really grow exponentially, and then the next billion users are not the highly educated people, but the people who are less educated. That is the market for them, and people have already started working on that market. Now the time is to study their need and to roll out solutions based, linking it to the digital banking platform, digital payment platform. That is what, if that is where the business will come from, and that is where we are also looking at the fintechs. The fintechs are rolling out solutions in their own areas, customizing it to the requirement of the region. And the MBAs have a huge role in studying the business model, rolling it out, coordinating for GST, coordinating for bank loans. That is the market, sir.
Madam, if you look at the so-called the digital banking, earlier, whenever we used to talk of banking, we used to refer to one of the scheduled banks or the cooperative banks. But increasingly, we are seeing, non-banks getting into the banking business. For instance, a few years back, RBI has started giving licenses for the payment banks. Wherein that was the time, the telecom companies, mostly the telecom companies have got into that.
Sir.
But of course, you have put some restrictions on what they can do and what they can't do. And now you are getting some technology companies getting into that. Like you mentioned about, a Google Pay. So Google Pay is not a telecom company, they are a technology company. Or for that matter, if you take Paytm is neither a telecom company nor a bank. They're typically a technology company. So our students will be benefited if you can sort of tell them, if you are looking at next billion kind of, the kind of internet, bank transactions or account holders or whatever name you're talking about, next billion, who will play a bigger role? Who will be the which will be the kind of organization that we're recruiting our people? See, for them, for our students at this point of time, while sort of taking care of security of the transactions is important for any one of us, particularly for our students, as you are aware, we have got IT students, that is a BCA, then we have got BTech Computer Science, MCA students.
Yes.
Then we got commerce students like a BCom.
Yes.
Then we have got management students like a BBA, MBA. Then we have got law students, a BBA, LLB, and LLB. Do you see opportunities for all of them?
Yes, sir.
Or is it only for MBA?
Yes, sir. Actually, sir, it is not, sir. Now, if you look at that Amazon platform, Amazon is onboarding lot of merchants. So that also doing the due diligence on the merchant's bank and the merchant's performance on the deliverables. This is a huge market, sir. Because Jharkhand, if you look at Jharkhand or any other area, which is where the marketing has been an issue all along, because every state has its own unique products that needs to be marketed. So, so there is a segment in Amazon actually which is looking at the markets and onboarding the market. So due diligence in the markets, making sure the payments are happening. So that is one segment where a lot of opportunity is there for these youngsters to actually develop their state's economy by listening with Amazon.
Okay, so like companies like Amazon, companies like Google,
yes, sir.
or companies like
yes,
Paytm
yes,
or PhonePe.
Yes,
So what I hear from you is, they are looking for people because, for most of them, still the reach is not there.
Yes, sir.
They are all mostly metro
Yes,
centric. From metros, they got to go into the urban, they got to go into the rural. Particularly for some micro payment kind of, the companies like a PhonePe. So that being the case, what you are saying is, marketing, there's a big opportunity for our BBA, MBA students. Am I right?
Yes, sir. So that is there, sir. There is another segment which is actually basically countries. I come from Orissa and Jharkhand and all. Now, when I have to source organic products, I actually have to call up somebody in Tamil Nadu who is some of these millets, sprouted millet powder and all. These are very, very specialized segments. Since I consume, I have to call them up. It is an extremely inefficient, time-consuming system to procure organic products. So many of these underdeveloped, what we call underdeveloped states, by default, their products are mostly organic. So because, it is not an industrialized area, many of this Northeast and all. So the lot of organic products they produce, and there is no market because there is no tie-up. So huge opportunities there now. Selling and marketing is all online. So all.
So to that extent, digital marketing in end-to-end kind of, a marketing and sort of a sales, starting with, kind of a prospecting for the customers, or doing the brand building, then marketing, selling, payments, and delivery.
Yes,
so
sir.
You see, that's another big market that is there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And then coming from states where the economy needs to grow and we need to market the Amazon and all, they are providing you with millions of customers. The ready-made market is there. If the pricing is right, then the economy will grow like anything, because we all need the good quality products at decent prices.
Okay, good. So that way what you are saying is something like an online marketplaces. That's a good opportunity for our students.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So like, like the Flipkarts of the world or the Amazons of the world, like that, more and more online marketplaces are coming up.
Yes.
So you feel that that's a good opportunity for them.
Yes, sir. Also to develop and roll out solutions, sir.
Okay, then getting into developing and solutions, on one hand, at least whatever I have observed is, earlier the kind of technologies we used to talk of for the internet banking, like using the various kind of a a programming languages in this kind of a thing. From there, today people are moving into the emerging technologies. Like, if you take something like a complete a payment, value chain process, now, people are using blockchain. I don't know, RBI, have you allowed the banks to use blockchain technology? And which of the banks are using blockchain today? Do you have any idea on that, Suchitra madam?
Sir, blockchain, and if you look at NPCI website, NPCI plans to utilize blockchain technology. That is, blockchain technology is a distributed ledger platform. That means here, traditionally, we maintain one ledger of a bank in a particular server. In case of a blockchain, same ledger is maintained maybe at 20-25 places, so that accessing the ledger becomes fast, and the integrity of the ledger is maintained, because all the ledgers would contain the same information. Every additional incremental information is updated on all the ledgers at the same time. So that brings
so that the integrity is maintained.
Yes.
And you also find that this kind of whatever we have been talking of, the cyber security problems and that kind of issues will not be there. So this being the case, apart from NPCI, I guess that some of the commercial banks are also using the blockchain. They also have got ledgers, isn't it? Multiple ledgers.
Sir, they have ledgers, but in a blockchain technology, there's a blockchain first version, blockchain 1.0, blockchain 2.0. Blockchain 1.0 had the scope of recording 7 transactions in 1 second. Blockchain 2.0 could record only 15 transactions in 1 second. Blockchain is secure, but it is slow. But a MasterCard or a Visa card has the capacity to transact 24,000 transactions, and the server is updated. So by its very nature, blockchain is a slower technology because of its security. So blockchain is not really worldwide. It is not. It has not been used as a for recording cash transactions or regular transactions that has high volume. It will slow down the system totally. For recording it, so blockchain, also the currency that is on the blockchain, like Bitcoin, that is not used as currency, that is used as an asset class, which is regulated by, like, if it would come to India, it would be regulated by SEBI, not by RBI, because there the transactions are less. So when it is getting updated, the system does not become dysfunctional.
Okay, no, I'm not getting into that. What all the question I'm asking is, I'm looking at things only from our students' perspective. If you look at our IT students, like a BCA, BTech Computer Science or MCA, they would look for opportunities to make use of the latest technologies for development of products or development of applications. Today, like as you are mentioning, if NPCI, huge volume of transactions, if they are using blockchain,
sir, they have not implemented.
Without sacrificing the transaction time, possibly, I think, by configuring the servers properly, it must be possible for others also.
Yes, sir.
Any technology, Madam Suchitra, any technology, if you got to make it operational efficient, maybe certain tweakings has to be done with regard to the hardware. I can't say that I'll use, a 10 years old hardware and use blockchain. That may not work. You may have to use a faster hardware. But in the blockchain, typically what happens is, sort of in blocks, the entire thing is there, and that transaction is not showed in multiple places. But anyway, what I was looking at is, maybe I think blockchain, if there is an opportunity for our students to work on that, that's an exciting technology. Similarly, the artificial intelligence and machine learning, because I thought that SBI, they have got a kind of a chatbot.
Yes, sir.
Like SIA. Similarly, HDFC Bank has got a chatbot called EVA.
Okay.
And ICICI Bank has got a chatbot called, what is that? iPal. So the chatbots and artificial intelligence based kind of, agents, that is another latest thing. Do you see that opportunity for our students? Like this, today what is happening is artificial intelligence means that it is just like you are having a 24/7 ATM. just as you're having 24/7 banking, I also would like to have somebody to respond to my queries 24/7 through voice or otherwise. So do you see artificial intelligence being deployed widely in the banking in next few years so that our students that are passing out, sort of, they want to work on exciting technologies? Do you see that opportunity for them?
Yes, sir. So the chat, more than the chatbot, what I feel is that based on a customer's data, that is the transactional data, now the new area that is coming up is actually looking at the customer transactions and finding out how to help. Suppose a customer is usually, if you look at Amazon and other things, immediately the solution comes, do you want to convert it to EMI? So these are the kinds of, financial enhancements that actually value addition that is happening. And also if somebody's child is actually we have a system where a child actually is writing the 10th exam, we are paying the school fees online or the and all these things. So if a particular child is writing the 12th exam, is in the science stream, then now the new way of looking at the data is offering the child a student loan, because he might be joining engineering and needing a particular amount of loan. So these offers keep coming to, so this is the area where you can look at the transactions, look at the financial needs of the customer and offer solutions. You might offer solutions to maybe 2 lakh, 3 lakh people, and maybe some 50,000 people will pick up the offers. It's like that.
No, fair enough, madam.
So this is the area where
taking the same thing, if a service to be offered to the customers, one way is through the call centers.
Yeah.
They can ask a query and they can get some replies. The other way is looking at whatever the website that is there, they can find out themselves. The third way could be using artificial intelligence. There can be a very intelligent chatbot. Today, in fact,
Yes,
if you look at tourism,
yes, sir.
because in India we haven't got. About 9 months back, I traveled to Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka is entire Sri Lanka is equal to something like 2 or 3 states in India. That's all. The Sri Lanka government tourism, they have got an excellent chatbot that can sort of reply to all your queries practically.
Okay, sir.
And it will give us
the chat box is very high quality chat box.
No, that is the chatbot. Where, like, in fact, if I want to get a service, like any type of service, I can say this is my profile. I may be customer, I may not be customer. Particularly if I'm a customer, my entire profile is with you. On the basis of that, if I want to know, should I take a fixed deposit, for how much I should pay? And all these things, like I can ask questions and I can get replies and I can take decision.
Yes, sir.
Because for tourism, international tourism, if they are operating like that, because in a few minutes I can keep on chatting and it can give you a solution for that. So this could be another area positive.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What all I'm looking, madam, is because as far as our students are concerned, like in fact, sort of they have learned a lot of new technologies. They want to see whether in banking are there opportunities for them to deploy these technologies so that they can have an exciting career. If it is going to be something like, maybe 20 years back, somebody going there and keeping on writing transactions or, only during daytime, entering some transactions, it may not be exciting. For
yes,
our
sir.
students, because what I noticed was, like for all the chatbots, most of the chatbots were not developed by the bank per se. They
yes,
were all
sir.
developed by third party.
They're outsourced. They're outsourced.
Possibly our students, like in fact, if they are sort of, if they want to become an entrepreneur, they want to start something, possibly some banks may encourage them to
yes, sir.
chatbot into that. Or if you say something like, or maybe business analytics kind of applications.
Yes, sir. It is a combination of analytics, of technology, of analytical tools, and having access to data. Because to offer some solution, you need some inputs of the customer or whoever is interacting with you on the chatbot.
Yeah, so fair enough. Fair enough.
Yes, sir.
Madam, why I'm asking you some questions is, while what all you explained is very nice for all of us, our students' expectation is, like, what kind of a career they can build in a digital banking. So just only one question, one more query I want to ask you, and with that I'll stop. Not one, two. One is with regard to the so-called the digital-only banks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not talking of digital banking.
Mm-hmm.
Digital-only bank.
Mm-hmm.
Means that they don't have any physical bank at all.
Mm-hmm.
In India, to the best of my knowledge, RBI is not giving those licenses as of now.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in UK, FSCA has allowed only digital-only bank.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have branch at all.
Mm-hmm.
Similarly, in the US also, they are giving digital-only bank.
Mm-hmm.
So they not go there at all. It's a virtual bank, just like a virtual conference we are having. Maybe possibly, like RBI today, maybe you're not giving. Maybe you are watching what is happening in UK. UK, lots of banks are there. And they are growing much faster than the other banks. They don't have overheads. Cost of transactions is very low. They can pay a much kind of better, interest rate. Isn't it?
Yes.
They don't have so many people. So if such is the case, maybe that could be a great opportunity. Earlier we used to talk of, core banking solutions and various things. Now we are talking of what is called a digital-only bank. That means that all these things will happen only digitally. There is no need for a person at all. But before that, another thing that has come is app-based banking, mobile apps. Instead of going through the website and portal, all the facilities and all the functions are available through app. Today, all the youngsters, they don't go through emails at all, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Today, they make use of your instant messaging through WhatsApp. So through WhatsApp, through app-based banking, it may not be WhatsApp, app-based banking, whereby it is very easy for anybody to operate instead of doing anything else into that. Do you see an opportunity for the kind of students to get to app-based banking?
Sir, sir, you would be very much aware we are working on a project, and we means RBI along with the Government of India is working on the India Stack project, where we have an identification layer that Aadhaar is there. We have the payment layer that is UPI is there. Now we are trying to, because only certain lending can happen without the papers, like mortgage-based lending and all. Even now it is difficult. So with CERSAI, what we are looking at is if CERSAI can be actually on a distributed on a blockchain platform, and people can access the land records, everything on and put their mortgage on the CERSAI, then if these are the building blocks to have a total digital lending platform. In India, that work is still on, and only now that land records in the rural areas have been mapped, and we have issued these cards in the urban areas. Land record digitization has not happened. And there is another one concept called as a DigiLocker. The DigiLocker, where you can put all your certificates and GST registrations and all these things. This is one part of the stack where work is still on. There is a concept.
Fair enough. No, but what I'm saying is, it may not be tomorrow or tonight.
Yes,
because all these things across in the last so many years they have happened, it is very likely you may not be able to give a housing loan, but you can give a vehicle loan. You can give so many other loans, isn't it? But the vehicle loan you may not require the land records, isn't it? Consumption loans you can give as long as the identity is established. So anyway, I think I'll just leave it there. Sort of the only reason why I'm asking you some of these queries is the students would like to know, like, what are the exciting opportunities that are coming up, so that they can work on them. So that means that if it is a technology students, their kind of opportunity will be with regard to working on various products and platforms. And as far as the BBI base concerned, they can work on various the marketing kind of thing. And you mentioned about the cyber security. That was the last question I wanted to ask you. Like, unlike in so many of the developed countries, our country, we are not fortunate to have, a full-fledged and robust cyber security laws in our country. And because of that, while you mentioned that cyber police is there, like their jurisdiction is limited, their kind of the technology resources are very limited. And because of that, abroad, if a company or including a bank, if there is any incident, they have to report to the regulatory authorities, within 24 hours. If a public sector bank or a private bank or anybody, if they do not report, there is a penalty. Whereas in our country, currently it is not there. See, while what all you said is fine with regard to the consumers, consumer must tell you within 4 days or 3 days. But what about a bank? If there is a breach today, if there is a wholesale problem, what all you have mentioned is, if I pass on my what you call password to somebody else, I write somewhere else, there's a compromise on a consumer, only one consumer gets affected. If a server is compromised, if a server is hacked, a few millions of transactions get affected. You are aware, a few millions of credit cards of India, were available, initially on a darknet. They were all available for sale. Very recently again it has happened. So these are the problems not with an individual consumer. These are the problems with the entire ecosystem where the concerned organizations, including banks, maybe they have to take a lot more care. On one hand, technology-wise, I think we are not ahead. Today, in fact, all the cyber criminals, they have better technology than our organizations, user organizations. Recently, I read a report, their spending on technology is higher than the user organizations. Because of that, they are ahead. So on one hand, the technology has to move faster. That means that, like our IT people, they have got a job there to make our, sort of IT cyber security and ecosystems, more, kind of a stronger. Second is, if they have to today, when once a cyber law is enacted in India, all our law graduates, they have an opportunity to do some practice in the kind of, the cyber law. So I think that is the last question I want to ask you, because I think we got to look at this, from a 360-degree perspective. And, starting with something like, giving a product a solution, and after that marketing it. And after that, today, if I got a problem on a cyber security, I'm being sent from pillar to post. Even in places like Hyderabad, Bangalore, and Delhi, not to talk of Ranchi. Ranchi, it is much worse. Because a cyber police, they've got a limited jurisdiction. They'll simply say, I don't know for everything. So I think that is something that maybe, I think cyber security lawyers will be in demand. And as some of these things come up into that, I think that's where I leave it there. And thank you very much. And after this, maybe our students and our faculty or anybody else may ask any more question. It's an excellent presentation. Thank you very much.
Sir, thank you, madam. I think I request Dr. Rumna Bhattacharya, madam, to give the vote of thanks, madam. Are you there, madam, on the line?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Dr. Bari.
No, in fact, one of the students has asked a question.
Sir.
That is nothing to do with the digital. I want to ask a question with regard to pursuing MBA. What are the opportunities in the digital banking? What kind of skills they should have? See, Shobhana, the kind of skills that you need to have, or you need to understand how the banking happens, what are the banking procedures, and then how the technology can be deployed. And you need to understand what various banks have done with regard to deployment of the technology into that. I think that is something you need to understand that. So that way, whether it is private banks or public sector banks, they are all looking for a techno-managerial or techno-commercial skills. You need to have some skills on banking and finance, and also you need to customer thing. There, after all, various digital strategies are being adopted. RBI is also sort of doing a lot of work. But as Madam said, there's nothing like 100% foolproof. Still, in the technical terms, there are vulnerabilities that are there.